to go. And
yes, members of the public can go sit in.
Yeah, and he's as welcome as any other member of the public. And yet, people think that the only reason he would go in there would be to make a scene or intimidate them. So Molly Hemingway, who is a Fox contributor, went to this Supreme Court meeting herself yesterday.
And she reported on what it was like to be in the room with President Trump.
I was thinking about it when
That was me. Try this one more time.
I was thinking about it when the marshal of the Supreme Court began today's events. She tells everybody to rise. She says, "Oyez, oyez. All those who have business before the court draw near." Well, President Trump had business before the court, and I think everyone knew this is going to be a landmark case, and so there was a ton of interest. It was a very crowded event. There were members of the public, members of the media, members of the Supreme Court bar, and President Trump was there along with the Attorney General and the Commerce Secretary and his White House counsel. I think just because it's a case of great interest to him. You had heard so many people say he was going to lash out and act and shout. Well, no. Everyone stayed quiet. Everyone sat and listened to the arguments, and they were very long arguments relative to normal cases.
So, California has sued Donald Trump, I don't know how many times. That's over 100, right?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
We put money aside just to sue him.
That would be Governor Newsom and our Attorney General, Rob Bonta. Now, Rob Bonta, when he found out that the president had gone to the Supreme Court, of course, he could not figure out that it might just be that the president is very interested in this case and wanted to watch like anybody else might want to watch.
Right.
To him, there had to be something else to this.
As someone who operates with leverage, the laws, sees laws, and the Constitution, unfortunately, has speed bumps on his way to advancing his own agenda. It seems like there's a potential he was trying to, intimidate this U.S. Supreme Court. Not that they can be, and try to just make it clear that this is very important to him and he's watching.
Yeah, it is very important to him and he's watching, but he's not. Do you think that Trump thinks he can intimidate them by going to and sitting in their court?
I don't think so.
Yeah. And I don't think those justices can be intimidated. Are
the justices at the State of the Union there to intimidate him? No. It's important to him. He wanted to hear the arguments. Part of me has to wonder, did the arguments yesterday seal the deal for Pam Bondi's fate? I don't know.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I just think it's just interesting that people who don't like Trump always find something bad. According to Molly Hemingway, he went in, he sat down like everybody else. He was quiet. He was respectful. He watched the proceedings. Very long arguments. Probably always causes a scene of some kind. But nobody's intimidated. Everything they going to win. All the reporting said it, the questioning looked like it was an uphill climb for the Trump administration to win this case. And it should be if it's not a good case, right? You want a court that rules according to the law and the Constitution, not based on with their personal...
Sure.
For this country to understand that we have a separation of powers and that the work of the court is different than the work of Congress, which is different from the work of the president. But again, temporary visitors or illegal aliens to have full citizenship rights. These are interesting arguments that are good to hear. And on the separation of powers issue, I've gone to several arguments. You frequently see members of Congress and senators there listening as well. I think they're listening. They're hearing what's going on, and they're not there to intimidate. They're just there as citizens who are interested in a particular...
Schweitzer wrote a book called The Invisible Coup.
Okay.
Apparently some of the numbers in his book were quoted yesterday in the Supreme Court. And he talked about this Chinese tourism and how many people have been involved in this.
This is shocking.
Oh.